Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.
Welcome everybody for the international edition of Future Hacker. This is Maria Taide, and today we will have a conversation with Nectoux, the partner of Startse, the largest education company focused on the new economy in Brazil, and that is now also present in Silicon Valley with their own university. They are about to hold a very ambitious web conference there. Super exciting. Hi Nelson, great to have you with us today. Before we get into this amazing event you are about to host, could you tell our listeners about Startse?
Hello, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Startse in the upcoming event that we're going to have in the month of October. Startse was founded in Brazil, São Paulo, Brazil, back in 2015. Junior is our CEO right now and also founder of the company. Startse started pretty much as a portal for innovation. So it's a portal to talk about startups, to talk about innovation, to talk about this mentality behind startups. A lot of things changed in those 4 years. So the company evolved a lot. After we became this huge ecosystem of startups, because like we're sharing all this information, the mindset from Silicon Valley, from China, from Israel, all those places that are well known about startups to Brazil. The whole idea was, how can we bring innovation to Brazil? How can we bring this mindset behind those companies that are being disruptive? And how can we teach a little bit the tools, the mindset behind the startup ecosystem? So that's pretty much how everything started. We start to grow a lot as an ecosystem, have like more people reading our articles in the portal. It's a web portal that was under the InfoMoney. InfoMoney is another portal about financial that's like was owned by XP Investment. So that's pretty much how Startse started. After that, we started to do some events. So events for like 300 people, 500 people, and then we move from 1,000, 2,000 people. And the whole idea is like talk about the verticals. So HR, future of HR, for example, future of agribusiness, future of fintech. So we're moving from a digital company, digital news ecosystem about startup to how can we actually bring people together in an event, and then we can kind of like foster the ecosystem in Brazil as well. So how can we collaborate? How we can get people together? How we can bring the experts of those hubs of innovation to talk in Brazil and to let the people know that they all can kind of like found a startup or use the methodology on large corporations. So that's pretty much how we started. And then we moved from the education part of it. So we started to do the in-company. We started to do some events to also just not let people know about innovation, but how could we teach about the new economy? So that's pretty much how when we switched from event company to education company. So we saw that opportunity that people just don't know about how a startup works, but also they want to know how they could apply those informations in their company maybe, or they, such as like entrepreneurs, how can you use those tools so then they can scale the business or just like became like a culture of innovation inside large corporations. If I could give you an overview, that's how it started, and that's why it's the name. Startse is kind of like start yourself. So how can you take this next step in order to move forward to more innovative, to have more like an open mindset and to learn from those hubs of innovation?
This is a pretty amazing story, Nelson, because this is definitely a market that is thirsty for information, right? And meanwhile, you just told us how Startse changed since 2015 until now. On the same time, a lot changed in the market, in the Brazilian startup environment, right? So what do you see that were breaking points, in your opinion, in the market for those changes? And what was the main challenges that you faced?
That's a great question, actually. If you think about innovation in a startup 5 years ago, that was like totally new to Brazil. And I mean totally new. Of course, people that work with technology, they are more they know about what a startup is, and they know about the ecosystem. But if you work for a large corporation, or if you work in a traditional industry, you are not really familiar with startups. So I think like that's why Startse as well start to have more traction. We gain more traction over the time because like people start to look more from outside hubs of innovation and how they could learn from them and then apply on those traditional corporations. I think because also the conversion of exponential technology, because in the past we didn't have that speed of change. Because we did have technology, but like nowadays we have like exponential technology that are conversion themselves. When that happened, the pace of change is accelerating. So I think that was the good opportunity for Startse. We saw that happening. We start to looking for innovation as a tool for education. We always say that like innovation, technology is not exactly what make a company innovative, but it's the people behind that understand that technology is a tool. So I think Startse, we understand that. And then also the ecosystem in Brazil started to grow. In São Paulo, in Recife with Porto Digital, for example, in Florianopolis. A few startups start to get more visibility. So I think like we were in the right time, in the right moment. And then we took advantage of that, and then we provide what people need. You know, we provide the information, we provide the expertise, and we provide something new. Since the system of education could not keep the fast pace of the change. So what I mean by that is like the system of education is pretty much like obsolete. We're educating people for a market that we're not gonna see in the future. So I think with Startse, we develop more that mentality behind the technology and how we could take advantage in be this lifelong learning and continue really skilling.
You know, I just love this phrase you said, innovation as a tool for education. So could you please tell us how Startse ended up in Silicon Valley?
Okay, nice. I'm actually in Silicon Valley. I'm one of the heads and Startse International. We have programs here in the Valley and the Bay Area, and also China and Israel. Mauricio Bevenuti, one of the partners in Startse, after work for the financial industry for a long time, over than 10 years, he said, okay, I want to just like see something different. I want to put myself in the ecosystem, in the places that I could challenge myself. Okay, instead then I go to New York, usually what people do when they work in the financial industry. He said, oh, maybe I'm going to change a little bit my background perspective. I want something new, something different. And a friend of him told you should go to the Silicon Valley, because Silicon Valley is the place that is where people are building the new companies, the future. They want the most hub of innovation that are influencing companies around the world. So that what's happened. Mauricio was here. He kind of like did the period of his life for 6 months, for a year, that he want to just like change a little bit his mindset. He got crazy with the ecosystem and he want to share that with Brazil. Said, actually, we have a huge opportunity here if more people could know about Silicon Valley mentality, mindset, and how the ecosystem work itself of innovation. So that's pretty much how we started. We started doing what we call mission. So it's a program that we have for 1 week. And then we did literally a sales page. As a good startup, it was an MVP. So we started with a sales page telling our audience that we're going to have a program in a month and a half. And then it's going to be 1 week. And then we're going to learn with the large corporations, but also with the startups and the hubs of ecosystem of innovation. So incubators, accelerators, and all those kind of things. And we ended up like selling 30 people that just bought it after a few hours that we launched on the website. So it was like crazy. People want to come, want to see it, and realize, oh, actually there is opportunity here. We should take it like that could be a very good opportunity to scale their business. We focus as an education company, and as well, we establish ourselves out of Brazil. So that's pretty much how we started. Right now, we already have been host over than 3,000 people and here in the Silicon Valley. We just launched last year Startse University, next to Stanford in Palo Alto. So we have our own space that we host people. And with our space, there is also the opportunity to build our own methodology. Since we don't believe the system of education nowadays, how could we create in the environments that could foster collective intelligence? How can we show the ecosystem, but on the other hand, influence people to think different, to work by project, to use the collective intelligence? So that's pretty much how everything started in the Silicon Valley. And we're just at the beginning, to be honest.
Those missions to Silicon Valley must be amazing. It just must be just like traveling to the future. Being there, it must be striking the difference of the ecosystem when you compared what we currently have here in Brazil to what we have there. But let's dive into the web conferences that you guys are planning. Basically, it's actually the whole month of October, right? During the evenings, it's going to be around innovation, technology, and digital transformation. And it's awesome. It just sounds massive, not to mention the speakers that you have lined up. I actually already subscribed myself to it. So could you just please tell our listeners more about the event? Everything that you have been planning, the speakers you have, and anything else you could share with us.
Amazing. Yeah, we are very excited for the conference, upcoming conference in October. We used to do that kind of event every year. We have the Silicon Valley conference. But of course, after the pandemic, we cannot host or put it together 5,000 people, 6,000 people. That's the kind of like the size of event we used to do in Brazil. So every year, the Silicon Valley conference happened in November, used to happen in November. This year, we are very kind of upset and disappointed. We're not gonna do one of the main events that we have because we cannot put people together in order of like safety and the guidelines of make people secure. That's a good opportunity maybe to democratize the knowledge that we see in the Silicon Valley and put in front of people that cannot afford to come to the Valley, for example. We know that like a trip to the Silicon Valley is pretty expensive, can be pretty expensive. On the other hand, you also need like a time off from your company. We all have like business life. So we thought, why not do a digital version of the Silicon Valley conference? So we call the Silicon Valley Web Conference. And instead of charge people like tickets to have access to the information, we want to democratize that. So how we can actually make it free for the public, for the audience, and make a sponsor pay for that. So in that way, we could give more information. We could also influence more the ecosystem of innovation in Brazil to get bigger, to get more information, to have access to those experts that maybe they would never connect with if it wasn't a conference like this. So we're very happy. We're expecting 500,000 people watching this. We already have like 250K people sign up. So I really appreciate it that you did as well. You subscribed it. I invite everyone that want to check it out. Silicon Valley Web Conference Startse is easy. You Google that, you can subscribe it as well. We're going to have big names. The whole idea is also, the whole conference is organized by a vertical. So the same way that we have the programs over here, we want to kind of like doing that to the conference. So we have like verticals focused on law tech, HR, mobility, construction, fintech, education, agribusiness. So we have it all over different like topics, subjects, and then we bring the experts from those fields, from the Valley, from the specific fields. We have such as Steve Blank. That's it's well known in the Silicon Valley as the godfather of startups. We have one of the co-founders of Tesla, for example, the Mark Temper. We have people that is like big names, Ben Nelson from Minerva, the education community and project. So we do have a lot of like big names from the large corporation, from Uber, Netflix, all those like companies that we have been partnering the last 4 years. And then we have a good network with them. And we are very happy to provide that to Brazil for like a 1 month. Thinking about that every month, instead then you go and you just like watching a novella. Nothing against the novella, I love novella as well. But we can also learn from those experts, from those people from the Silicon Valley, from the Bay Area for free. So we're very excited because we know that's going to be a huge impact in Brazil and probably going to foster and influence a lot of people to be more innovative and more like entrepreneur, even intra-entrepreneur inside of the companies. So we're super excited about the event. We are planning a lot of like different things that I want to actually keep as a surprise for you guys. So you guys should definitely subscribe and wait for October because it's going to be a very exciting moment.
And and actually that's one of the things that I most like about it is that you not only have this amazing list of speakers, but you actually were able to make the event accessible to everyone. And when we're talking about the startup environment, so many or most of the entrepreneurs, they can't really be investing so much money traveling abroad, as you mentioned, right? So basically you're making it accessible. As you said, with COVID, you're actually using what I said in the beginning of the interview, which is innovation as a tool for education, right? So it's a web conference and all the content is going to be available 24 hours after it goes live. So everybody, if you haven't already, I strongly advise you to subscribe to the event. So now, one last question to you. Do you believe that this project can be a milestone turning Startse into a global player?
100%. That's the idea as well. We started as we're going to democratize knowledge. But then we started, actually there's a huge opportunity over here. And then we start to also looking for global partners because we have a lot of speakers that is going to speak in English, right? So you're going to have like translating, so simultaneous translation. But in the other hand, if we could take advantage, and that's what we're doing. So let's take advantage and actually use other hubs of innovation around the globe that it could also be a channel and distribute the Silicon Valley Web Conference. So yes, we already have our steps in China, in Tel Aviv, Israel. So Startse already do the programs in those places, those main hubs of innovation. And the whole idea is use this conference to establish our presence globally. So more people could know about Startse, what we do it, and how we do it different than the traditional way of educating people to the future. So we are very happy, and we definitely gonna take advantage of that event in order to establish our presence globally.
That's great. Thank you so much, Nelson, for being with us today. And also congratulations to you and the whole team for the amazing job you've been doing here in Brazil. And to anyone interested in joining the event, go to startse.com website as there's still time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.